This is the Night Owls Disc Golf Podcast. I'm Shane.
And I'm JP.
And today we have a riveting one brought to you by Door Disc Golf.
Hey.
Is that? Yeah, we'll unofficially sponsor the sponsor.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyways. So, doordisc.com, so you can get all your disc golf needs. And door_disc_golf, night_owl_pod. All right, so today we're going to talk FPO. Or was there. We're going to talk Abigail Wilson. We're going to talk a little bit of ice baths and saunas.
Oh.
This is because we're filling in for the lack of disc golf.
True. There's not a lot going on this week.
And then we'll do a quick recap on the very first disc golf event at the UWGB course called Shorewood, designed by Mr. Cale Leviska himself. So, with that being said, what do you want to start at? How about actually, how's your week been?
Oh, well, yeah, got interesting yesterday.
Okay, go back to the hospital again?
No.
Okay, good. That's good.
Not quite that interesting, but so last night, kids were bored. Dempsey and Maisie were like, Dempsey's like, hey, Maisie, you want to go downstairs and throw the baseball around?
Okay.
And he's like, no, I just want to stay upstairs and watch something. And then they eventually went downstairs for like 5-10 minutes, threw the baseball around. Maisie decided to come back up, watch some TV, and I'm sitting there. Alyssa's sitting there, and all of a sudden I hear it crash. And I was like, just kind of look over. Alyssa had my AirPods in. It's like, did you just hear that? She's like, yeah. I'm like, that sounds like something just broke. She's like, yeah. So I walked downstairs, and I thought it was going to be a light bulb. And Dempsey ended up throwing a baseball through our basement egress window. Yeah. And I was just like, what the heck?
And those are really easy to replace, too. Depends on what type you have, I guess, right?
Yeah. So I just like look at him. I was like, what are you doing? What were you doing? He's like, well, I threw the ball and it ricocheted off my glove and ended up hitting the window. So it went through a lower corner of our window.
Okay.
It's double paned. And I'm like, no way that happened. He's like, yeah, it totally, I'm like, no. And so in one end of our basement, I have where I putt disc golf basket. The basket was moved off to the side. And so we have mattresses up against our basement wall.
Sure.
So I'm not, mostly it's for not harming discs.
Right.
But, or, whatever. I was like, why aren't you throwing in that direction? And I just walk upstairs, like just kind of dumbfounded. And he immediately, I'm sure, because he's probably scared of what's going to happen.
Oh,
what
sure, yeah.
Consequences are, all that. He didn't come upstairs and say it right away. And I'm the one that didn't get like completely like bent out of shape. I was like, okay, what am I going to do? How am I going to fix this right away?
Yeah.
What's going to go on? Alyssa kind of read him the riot act about just like, we told you not to do this, blah, 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 all that. And so I just ended up getting some cardboard, duct tape for the now, covering it up.
Yep.
And then today, we don't have a cover for our for it, so I just went and got a tarp because like our egress is really big. It's like 48 wide by 37 long.
Oh, okay. It's pretty
big. So it's big. And so they don't exactly carry that size at Ace Hardware or anything, so you have to kind of get a custom one made. So I was just like, I'm just going to get a tarp for now and cover it up and then worry about, because I think it's supposed to either snow or rain coming within the next day.
Seriously?
Yeah, from what I heard. So,
son of a monkey.
Yeah, I didn't want anything getting into the basement at all. Yeah. So yeah, that was our exciting night last night. Other than that, things were okay. It was just like,
oh, that's good.
Really windy. Like I wanted to go through.
Crazy windy today.
Yeah. Today, well, a couple of days, like I went to go throw discs again. I was like, man, this isn't any fun. Like, I just want to get out and just, I mean, it is always good to like see what your discs can do in the wind, but at the same time, I'm like, I just don't want things to turn over. Like, I actually want to see a full flight or like not get batted down by 25-mile-an-hour winds. And
Yeah, there's supposed to be a ton of wind on Tuesday too. Yeah, tonight I guess there's supposed to be a little bit of rain.
Okay.
It looks
but it's supposed to be nice, like 53 again tomorrow or something like that. It's not going to be
50s,
cold.
40s and 50s.
I think spring has finally sprung in the Midwest or Wisconsin for the most part.
I think so. I think we're seeing it. We're seeing pretty consistent above freezing temperatures, so that's a good thing.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
How about you? What's going on?
Not much. Just a week of traveling every friggin' where in Wisconsin again.
Oh.
Just so last basketball tournament of the year, and they had not lost a game. No, they lost one game by 2 points since the beginning of the season.
Okay.
They got schmammered both games.
Oh,
so it was supposed to be a 3-game tournament, and since they didn't get a win at all in the first 2 games, they got bounced out. So we drove 4.5 hours, or about 4 hours, and then turned around and drove 4 hours back. It was really awesome.
4 hours where?
Verona.
Oh, yeah, down near Madison.
Dude, have you ever seen Verona Area High School?
No.
Oh, my goodness. It is like a college campus.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it is awesome. Their athletic fields are just phenomenal. I mean, when I'm talking like high-end high school, probably one of the nicest high school, like public, normal high schools that I've ever seen in my life, by far.
Wow.
I mean, nice. And it was like brand new, spanking new.
Ooh.
They had, in their gym, they had 5 basketball courts in their gym.
Oh, geez.
And this is a school that has an enrollment of a little over 2,000 kids.
Holy cow.
So it's a big school for Wisconsin.
Yeah.
But not that big.
No.
But 5 basketball courts big, like crazy. And when I'm talking like full-size stands, like when they rolled the stands back, they had 5 courts, and then they have one giant court right in the middle, full like indoor track, like really, really nice.
Holy cow.
And their football field was like better than my college field. Like it was incredible. Incredible.
It's crazy the amount of money some of these schools have.
No, but it wasn't even that. So on the other side of the school, there was a aquatic center. Not public. This is the high school's aquatic center.
Really? It's not like a community center?
No, a full-size Olympic pool. And they had like 2 lap pools, like diving pool. Like it was incredible. Like incredible. Because they had some swimming stuff going on, so I went and snuck and looked in the windows and stuff. It was, incredible. Like one of the most incredible facilities I've ever seen in my life for high school. Unreal. It was incredible. So Verona Area High School, it was amazing.
Huh.
And like I said, I think they had an enrollment of about 2,000 kids.
Jeez.
And this was just the high school.
Yeah.
This wasn't like the community school. This was like just the high school.
Wow.
Incredible. So yeah. So we were all kind of joking, like, wouldn't it be cool if Gibraltar had something like that?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. For nothing, you know.
Well, it's going to be interesting once they get... So there's a new aquatic center that's being built.
In Sister Bay.
Yeah, they broke ground and everything. So it'll be interesting to see what that's like.
Yeah, yeah. I think that'll be really nice to have like an aquatic center up here. And then, once the high school finishes their, or the area school finishes their new expansion, which is a year and a half out or something like that. It's going to be nice. We're going to have 2 really nice gyms, and, it'll be pretty cool. But it'd still be nothing. I mean, even Southern Door doesn't have, didn't even hold a handle this thing.
Yeah.
It was incredible. Huh. Incredible. So, yeah, impressive. So if you ever get a chance to go to Verona, go. Just for the high school.
Just for the high school.
That high school's awesome.
Anyway.
Yeah, so there you go. So we went down there, and it was awesome. And then, just did the same old, traveling back and forth Green Bay. And then I came home Thursday night, and I had like an entire construction site on my property. So we've been waiting to build a pole building. And all of a sudden, everything showed up yesterday or Thursday.
That's
so and then the crew was here Friday, just kind of marking everything out. And then supposedly, I guess Monday this week, they're going to put it all up, is what they said. So I would assume with the high winds on Tuesday, they probably won't. But
yeah, right.
Yeah. So I should have a shell of a building here pretty soon.
Wow.
Which would be really cool.
Cool.
Yeah, yeah. So, all right. I think outside of that, we'll talk about the Shorewood opener, which happened this weekend on Saturday when I was in Verona. But Matt Yadis knocked it out of the park with the very first PDJ sanctioned event there at Shorewood. I believe he had a full field, just shy of one. One person didn't show up, and he went to 5 person cards.
He did tell me that.
Yep, and he was a bit nervous. He bounced it off. I'm sure he bounced it off with a lot of people. And I think ultimately I just threw out, hey, here are the things we need to consider. And he made the appropriate decision and adjusted, the way he should and killed it. From what I understand, it went really, really well. I haven't heard anything negative about it. So,
yeah,
great job.
I'm wondering, like 5-person cards. I haven't been out to the course at all, so I don't know land-wise like how much he can do. But if you could have just like set up like an extra temp hole somewhere or something like that just to help.
Yeah, I'm sure that all would have been possible. Like we could have brought out 2 baskets and set up a temp hole, done that.
Yeah.
I think ultimately what we had conversations about was making sure that spotters were out there.
Oh, okay.
So I had a good conversation with spotters, what hole spotters needed to be. So we had a crew of spotters. And then and I say I just had conversations with him throughout ideas. He made it all happen. And then just organization of where certain divisions started.
Oh, okay.
So if there were backups, it would be the end. So we started kind of the more experienced on the hardest holes that we would expect, and then kind of went down from there. So then like MA4, FA4 would finish on those holes.
Yeah.
And so the backups wouldn't really affect the whole field.
Yeah, right.
And it sounds like about 3.5 hours was the last card that came in. So that's not bad for an 18-hole, 5 people per card. So,
yeah, right.
You're rocking, 90 people, or is it? No, am I wrong?
Yeah, I think
80.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
No, 90. You're right. 90. So it'd be 89 total.
It was 72 and then it expanded, I think is what you had said. It was going to expand.
Yeah, so it went really well. All in all, like I said, it knocked it out. All the team killed it. Like all the Door Disc team, they stepped up in the ways that they should and could, which was really awesome. And then I believe some of the UWGB Greek life actually helped out as well.
Oh, that's cool.
Which is awesome, yeah. And then the UWGB Disc Golf Club also helped.
Nice.
So, yeah. So
very cool.
Real nice community event, It was really, really nice.
Funny enough, you say UW, like Greeks, like didn't even realize UWGB had any of those on campus. Like
I didn't either. So Greek life is sneaky because, you think about traditional large universities like Madison. I mean, they have like frat and sorority rows.
Oh, yeah, right.
Greek life in universities are very, very, in these smaller universities are very different. I mean, they're like, there's actually residence halls. They'll just have residence halls and you just got to belong to it. There's not a house.
Yeah.
Some have houses, some don't.
Right.
Some have advisors, some don't. Some are official, some aren't. But I know they do have a Greek life there.
Okay.
But I don't know what it looks like on that campus.
Yeah, right.
I don't know if there's actually a apartment complex or a house or something like that they have. But
maybe off campus.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's interesting because
there's really nothing around that campus as far as residents go.
No, not right. Like there's some apartments fairly close to campus. I know, there's a couple residence halls on campus and things and apartments, I think. But yeah, I've only been on the campus more than a handful of times. My mom went to UWGB and so I saw her graduate, but that was a really long time ago. She's held off graduation and everything. I mean, the biggest building on campus is the library, and then the
basketball center.
The basketball center. Yeah, I mean that's huge. I forgot what that's called, but yeah, I mean
and
that's
then there's
impressive.
that Crest.
Yeah, that's what I think is Crest
Auditorium or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But it's a beautiful place. So, going out there, it's public. So if you're within the Wisconsin area and you want to go out there and play Shorewood, it's public. Just go out there, play. I think there's a small fee to it. But, it's a really, really nice course.
I think cool if Kale could have been there for like the opening tournament.
We reached out. We reached to him, to Hammis, but...
Adam was playing at Eagles Crossing.
Yeah, at Eagles Crossing. And Kale just never got back to us.
Oh, okay.
So... But it is what it is, and he's got a new sponsorship, a new baby. There's all kinds of things going on. And,
for sure.
And I know that UWGB was holding a tournament slot for him just in case he wanted to. And that tournament slot's not being held anymore for him. So he must have communicated with them and just said, like, I'm not going to have the time to do it this year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But it's way outside of what he does, you know? I mean,
Yeah.
it's outside of his area.
Sure.
So, but I think with all that being said, we'll jump into Eagles Crossing.
Okay.
So Eagles Crossing is just finishing up today.
Yep.
Right? Didn't really catch any of it. I saw a little bit of the front 9 first round.
Same.
And that was it.
I watched the front 9. I started watching the back 9 before. I just had a busy day doing stuff, so I didn't get to watch a whole ton. But we've seen it before, with Go Throw. I was curious to see if maybe it'll come up tomorrow. There's rumors of new courses on the property. And I'm sort of kind of curious to see if they ended up playing any of those other baskets on the property for the second round, because I like the first round, like the first course that's put in. It's beautiful. A lot of OB. There's good wooded holes. There's good, pretty open holes. A lot of long, really long holes. A lot of
long water.
Water. Yeah, you name it, it's got it. And it's like people would probably consider it the premier disc golf destination.
I would agree. So, in
the U.S. at least.
Yeah, we talk about where disc golf should be. Eagles Crossing has it. That's where disc golf should be.
Right.
Aside from some things that we'll talk about in just a second or two.
Yeah.
But as far as design, what's there, how the amenities look, like how it's upkept, that is beautiful. If we could see more courses like that across the United States. Now, not all courses need to be that.
No.
But if we could have 10 or 13, 20 of them around the U.S., and we could tour them, and that's where we could see our pros going. We could start establishing a good relationship and a good, history with them. I think it'd be fantastic. And then you can start getting rid of these courses that are tragically underwhelming for people to watch on TV.
Yeah. Right.
And you can start dumping these courses and these events. And, it's sad to say, but there's quite a few of them out there.
True.
That, that are on the tour that can be dumped pretty easily for places like this.
Right.
Now, with that being said, there is something that is not really good for what most disc golfers would probably say is the direction that disc golf needs to go. And there's a $50,000 payout in this most recent Masters with no FPO.
I found that incredibly shocking.
I did too.
So here's the thing is, on social media the other day, I was scrolling through, and Go Throw on Instagram was like, okay, here's a complete list of players heading to the Eagles Crossing event. I was like, okay, cool. And it was just MPO. And I was like, well, that's really weird. Usually there's a smaller group of FPO. Yeah. And it's like, well, why aren't they being why aren't they being listed as the players there?
Yep. And in the meantime, you see Kirsten Latt getting a hero's welcome back home, and
yeah. And so I think even Cat Mertz was like, I'm going to Eagles Crossing. I think there's a couple other women were going, like Mason Ford was playing, so Valerie Mandujano or Valerie Ford was there and everything. And so but I never heard a rhyme or reason as to why FPO wasn't part of it, which is very odd.
Yeah. And no uproar about it.
Right.
Other than, a few little media spots being, picking it up. Zero media about it.
Yeah.
Weird.
Very weird.
Now, was it overshadowed by some of the other stuff that's going on in disc golf media? That's getting national attention? Maybe. But you would still hear about it, you would think, right?
Right.
Or is this just straight up hey, we don't have an FPO field. Sorry.
Yeah, it's crazy because of $50,000. You're like, ooh, why not split some of that pot with the ladies?
Well, and here's the most unpopular thing to be said in disc golf. They can still play.
Yeah.
I mean, they can still play. Now, I still think there should be an FPO field. I don't understand why it's excluded, but maybe there's a reason. I mean, maybe there's no short layout. Maybe there's no FPO.
Oh, well, look. I mean, watching coverage on all the T signs, they have a bunch of different T pads
everywhere.
Yeah, so you could definitely. I'm wondering, time wise, if it takes a long time to play, like get between holes, what the situation is there that you can't have, like the amount of time it takes for cards to get through. They just couldn't have FPO. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's possible. I don't know. You know, because we're only seeing 45, 50 minutes of footage at a time, you know, between go throw and ace run. We don't really know total time, you know, in between holes and everything. So that's really hard to say.
And whoever the TD is, I mean, that's really on them.
It's Luke.
Yeah, and that seems odd for Luke not to offer, because Luke seems to be
he's a tour director, I believe.
Yeah. And but I'm saying he seems to be a champion for the inclusion.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it does seem weird. There has to be a reason, but it's not being said.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
So one thing that, because obviously Masters, PGA Masters is heading this weekend as well, right? So long history of the Masters was women weren't allowed in,
right?
Along with people of not white color,
right? That was done away with for a long time ago, though. But yes.
So, but now women are allowed on the grounds and everything. So I was like, well, is this some kind of like weird traditional throwback to that, where they're not having? But you know, Valerie Van Hahn was there and everything. Like she was caddying for Mason Ford and everything. So
I don't think it's an exclusion of women on the ground. It's just they just didn't have an FPO field.
No, that's just it. No, it's not. No, like women were definitely available. I'm just saying it's kind of like it's a weird dichotomy between.
It's reminiscent of what the Masters is.
Yeah, PGA Masters used to be, but obviously women are on the ground. They just weren't playing.
Well, they can't compete.
No.
Right.
And so, I don't know. Very interesting. What I will say about Eagles Crossing, though, is they had some really cool... Okay, so all the caddies had coveralls, like the Masters, and then Luke, Paul Oman, and then Big Germ all had these really nice blazers, red blazers.
Very neat.
I don't know if the winner of the tournament got a blazer or not. I guess
now, is this the very first rendition of this?
This is the first rendition of the Masters at Yes. So they had these real nice jackets and everything made up. And German Luke did commentary, which is interesting. That Jomez would allow Germ to go off and do commentary with Go Throw, which I thought was interesting because, you know, I saw when they did the introductions, it was of the course, it was Germ, Paul Ullman, and Luke all kind of talking beforehand, and then they get into it and they're like, Luke's like, oh, I'm here with, you know, Big Germ, the man himself. I was like, well, this is odd. Like, I don't know.
If there's no conflict, I don't see why they would worry about it.
Right. I mean, there's not really, because I mean, it's two separate entities, right? They're not. Right. But it was,
and the events aren't going on at the same time. Because I'm sure if a Jomez event was going on, so a Pro Tour was going on, Germ would be there.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. So, I just thought it was interesting that they asked him when Paul, you know, Tall Paul's been doing commentary with them. So,
Yeah, that is interesting. Now, I think Germ is a good choice. I think he does a good job with stuff like that. And I know Germ has made it very public that that's what he wants to do with the rest of his career. Well, not very public, but he's made that public. That's what he wants to do in his transition to his older age. I think it's a good one to go with. I mean, so far so good. The tour is doing good as far as the Go Throw.
Yeah,
they're doing pretty good.
They are,
you know. And I think something like this, I think it is just mirroring the Masters, and that's probably why there's no FPO field.
It could be.
They're making it this exclusive thing, and it's just like there's a women's only event. There's quite a few women's only events.
There are,
you know. So, you know, maybe that's what it is, and there is no men's event paralleling it. So maybe they're just doing that, and. You know, in my opinion, sure, that's fine. I don't have any issues with it. I'm not calling any foul play, but it's just strange that there's nothing being said about it.
Yeah, I know. Like
there's
just,
so much silence.
Yeah, it's just I'd be curious to ask a couple of these FPO players that have played in the first couple of events, like a Cat Merch or somebody, what their thoughts were on maybe, because as far as I know, like she traveled there and everything. Yeah. So, but I think because Nico was playing, like he was highlighted during the first round a couple times on like he was a couple holes ahead of the MPO lead card. And so maybe she was just there as like support and like or caddying for him or whatever the deal was. But I'm curious if the news will come out about it, like why the decision was made or whatever. Another interesting thing I noticed, they talked about it immediately on hole 1, was the baskets. The baskets, they like German Luke right away, they're like, oh, these are some interesting baskets. So basically they're exoskeletons of the gateway baskets. And they have denser chains, heavier chains in the middle. There's 3 layers of chains and like lighter chains as you get out. So you're not going to get those spit outs or like kickbacks out.
Yeah, the pushes,
Yep. And then there's no nubs on the baskets.
Okay.
So the cage itself is a perfect 360-degree rings, no nubs on the baskets whatsoever. So I don't, and I guess the owner is the one that came up with the basket design. You know, he took the initial gateway baskets and just kind of modified them
there.
Yeah.
And that's good. I mean, because I think some of the things I like the lighter to heavier chains. So Ezra Aderhold had a video on it. And it was 35 minutes long about the baskets themselves.
Oh,
and it was
really?
him and the boys, they were chatting about it.
I saw their video. I didn't watch it, but I was thinking.
And I mean, they look nice. I mean, they kind of, I know they're gateway baskets, but they're reminiscent of the Innova 27 chain. Is that right? I think the 27 chain has the 3 layers.
That could be.
It has the wide band. The big difference between those is the nubless basket.
Yeah.
The nubless tray.
Right.
And that's pretty neat because you just dead that into the top ring, and that top ring has no nub. It's a good change. It's a smart change. It's a more expensive basket, I'm sure, for production.
I would guess so.
But, are the nubs really a thing? And as far as longevity of the basket, the reason why they curl those nubs around is doing a dead weld to 2 round stock. I mean, Caden can talk on that, but they're not strong. So I wonder how longevity is going to hold up on these things.
Yeah, like German was mentioning, he's like, there's cons for it and there's pros for it.
For sure.
And they didn't get into them really, but they said it does kind of make a difference, as far as like discs hitting the actual cage itself and like possibly rimming out or things, like the cage, like discs not settling in the cage as well without the nubs. Yeah. Or you might see some discs, not catch, but like skip off much easier than if they actually hit the baskets with nubs on them.
Because the way they do with the nubs is there's 2 layers of round stock, so there's one and it's kind of like a grill outside, like they're going both directions. So there's a little bit of difference in height. So I'm sure that helps catch discs a little bit, And I don't know which ones they are, but they even alternate where they go inside and outside each other. I forgot which one that is. I don't know if that's a DGA or a Innova one, but some of them do the in and out. And even on the bottom where they'll go up and down to where it creates places where it could catch. So I could see how that could be.
Sure.
I could see how that could be. But good for that, man. Making some changes and listening to the pros, listening to what common complaints are and going with them. I mean, and just trying it out. You got 18 holes with 100 pros out there right now or something like that. And how many are there in the Masters?
There's 32.
Oh, that was it. Okay.
Yeah, there's not that many.
But with 32 pros out there, like, you got 32 really good discerning eyes. Yeah. Telling you what is good and what isn't. And you can make a change for next year or for the next event, maybe.
Right.
So yeah, I think that's awesome. So I have nothing negative to say about the course. I think the course is awesome. Like I said, I think this should be kind of the model, the why can't I think right now?
The standard?
Yeah,
Or-
there you go.
well,
The gold standard. It should
Sure.
be at least the silver standard. How about that?
Okay.
I don't know if we've hit the gold standard yet.
I think a lot
But-
of people would maybe consider Maple Hill
Gold
Like-
standard?
close to it. I don't know.
See, the issue with Maple Hill is it's still a secondary use for that property.
Well,
It's
yeah,
still a
that's-
Christmas tree farm.
It is.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's becoming more and more a disc golf, destination. I mean, a disc golf course rather than, but yeah, but I think Maple Hill's there. I mean, what they got? 3 pads, 3 tees, 3 baskets, 3 tees for everyone. They even have long layouts. They have alternative. They have like safari layouts. I mean, there's a lot of really good layouts there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would say so. But Eagles Crossing, man, sure does seem nice, especially with the water that's in play.
Yeah.
And what does Maple Hill have? 2 ponds,
Yeah.
maybe 3. I don't know, something like that. But there's not a lot of water on Maple Hill. There's, well, yeah, there is. I lie.
There is.
I
There's
lied.
quite
There's
a bit.
quite a few. Yeah, but yeah, maybe. I don't know. What would you rather go play?
I don't know. It's a tough question.
Yeah.
I think because there's more history, Maple Hill. Yeah.
If distance wasn't an issue, I would probably say Eagles Crossing. But Maple Hill, because you can play without having distance on that. So it's truly a course for everybody.
Yeah.
From the very first player all the way up to real seasoned pros, the best in the world. So, and it has a challenge for everybody.
Yeah.
So, all right. Now that we've talked about FPO at Eagles Crossing, let's talk Abigail Wilson. So,
Okay.
kind of like the turd that won't flush, this topic keeps coming up. It doesn't matter how many times you flush it and try to get rid of it. Natalie Ryan is now a focus again. And it is essentially Abigail Wilson. Now, let me start off by saying I have nothing against Abigail Wilson. And I honestly think she's doing a pretty good job with what she's doing. And I think that she has every right to do it. And I think some of the hate that she's getting probably called for. Some of the love she's getting is called for. Like,
Yeah.
this is just somebody standing up on the other side and being very vocal about it and getting a lot of attention right
Right.
now. So, for those of you that are not aware, at the Music City Open, Abigail Wilson made a stand about not playing in the MCO if Natalie Ryan, who she misgendered, and I'll throw up the air quotes, misgendered as a man playing in a women's event. And as long as he is not playing, or is playing in that event, she's not going to play. Abigail Wilson will not play as long as Natalie Ryan is playing in it. So that's where the saga starts.
Let's start.
That's where it starts. So this has been picked up by MSNBC, Fox News, and CNN.
Yeah.
Those 3 channels.
It's been big week in the news world for disc
Yeah.
golf.
And we would love to be in the news for other reasons. But, hey, any press is good press, right? Is that
Yeah.
what they say?
Right.
But with that being said, Abigail Wilson is standing up for what she believes is women's rights, and Natalie Ryan is standing up for what she believes is her rights. And for those of you who don't know, Natalie Ryan is openly transgender, and Abigail Wilson is not. She is biologically a female and always
Yeah.
has been. So, like I said, like a turd that won't flush, this just keeps popping up. And I don't think there's anything that's going to be done about it because I think they've blew their wad of money
Yes.
already
Right.
on lawyers and litigation and
They
step
basically
back
almost
and
went bankrupt.
exactly and step back and just said we can't fight this.
Right.
So it is what it is.
Someone somewhere brought up the good point is, a lot of people that helped Natalie fight, they're donating through whatever avenues they could to help her, fight these in against the tour. Now the tour pretty much was using their own money, but I feel like they could have asked for some kind of financial assistance to help with lawyer fees and everything, because I'm sure there's people that would have
I'm sure.
probably helped in that way.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, it's weird because some people feel like they just gave in or they just quit on fighting it. I don't know.
Well, I think so. I'll be candid here. If you don't like it, you can turn it off. I believe that the PDGA, the PDGA and the Pro Tour, because that's who was being sued.
Yeah.
So the Pro Tour just simply did not want to take a stand. They put up their where they needed to be, and they said, "Hey, this is where even the Olympic Committee is saying this is where we're drawing the lines." And Natalie Ryan didn't add up to whatever was required by the Olympic Committee, except for in a few states.
Yeah.
And they just decided that I'm not going to do this, because when that happened, the climate was not hospitable to standing against transgendered athletes, right?
Right.
The climate is a lot more hospitable now, still not hospitable to standing up against transgendered athletes. I think it's probably a little more 50-50 now, or maybe the other side as far as supporting females is more vocal now rather than supporting the transgender athlete. Is that right? I guess
I think so.
It's hard to speak in this because it's so convoluted. Like, who do I call what? What's a woman? What's a not? Like, so it's hard to distinguish between the two roles. And I think now that we're seeing a more vocal side for women and women's rights, and then we still see the same vocal, for the same support for the transgender population. So I think what's happening is just that people are starting to speak up, and you're starting to get more traction, and the political environment has changed. And
quite drastically.
Quite drastically. So I think you're just going to see this come up now. Again, as long as she continues to play Natalie Ryan, as long as she continues to play in FPO, you're going to continue to see this come up.
Yeah, because what's going to happen is it's going to happen in those tournaments where the states where she's allowed, right? Like this weekend, people are going to be very vocal about it, and then we won't see her for a while, right? And then it'll die off and be back to how it was, and then all of a sudden we'll get to, I think Minnesota's a state, so once the preserve comes around, it'll be Natalie Ryan's allowed to play, so we're gonna see more vocal people showing up at these tournaments, protesting and everything. So the one thing that I guess Abigail was worried about at this tournament was safety was an issue as far as security on the course, things of that nature. So I don't know, I guess, because the foundation talked about it a little bit on their podcast on Grip Locked, and they said that there was security, but it wasn't high security.
Right.
It's not it wasn't crazy or anything, but
what do they
it's a disc golf event.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Do they expect that every person has their own little, every card has their own security guy?
Yeah, I don't know what the situation would.
I think the safety of anybody that speaks out is going to be in jeopardy. Those are some of the choices you make when you make stands on very polarizing topics. But I think that's for Natalie and for Abigail.
Right, absolutely.
I think it's for both of the people.
And then, so here's the thing is as soon as you denounce playing in this tournament, why is it on the Pro Tour to all of a sudden be we still have to protect you, but you're not playing in this event. Right.
Yeah. If you're not a registered player of the event, then you've removed yourself from that situation.
Yeah.
So if you choose to stay on site to protest, that's on you.
Yeah. That's right. Because you're no longer a player on the course, everything.
Right.
So.
In both directions.
Yeah.
Both directions. We're not picking on Abigail because, I stand with Abigail. I think this is a good move for FPO, in my humble opinion. Now, I probably pissed off a bunch of people there, but that's just where I'm at. But I'm not the one playing. I'm not going to get up there and grandstand and do all those things because do I have a dog in the fight? No, not at all. But good for Abigail. Good for doing what she does. But I've also said, good for Natalie. Good for her doing what she does. Would I stand behind her and support her? No. But good for you. Kill it. You stand up for what you believe in. And that's it, and let courts decide, let the Pro Tour decide, like, that's on them.
Yeah.
I mean, that's everything. I don't hate her for doing that. Nor will I ever try to hurt her or wish harm on her. Same thing with Abigail.
Yeah.
Like, I don't hate her for doing this. I don't, any of that stuff. Like, you do what you do.
Yeah.
And I think I wish more people lived there.
So I did notice, I went on Abigail's Instagram page. So Sunday night or Monday, it wasn't private. A couple days later, she ended up having to make it private because I'm guessing she got flooded with DMs and messages and unwanted attention. So
especially after it hit national media.
Yeah, right. Big time.
Yeah.
So interesting indeed.
But that is a funny move when you stand up publicly against something. You get the attention you want, but then you go private with everything.
Yeah.
So you've created the stage. You've done a really good job at creating the stage, and then you jump off of it. You know what I mean? You're like, nope, I'm in the crowd. What are you talking about?
It's right, because you're creating this, like, you want to be seen. It's not a spectacle, but it's definitely something, an attention grabber.
Sure.
And you're like, yes, attention. And then you're like, whoa, way too much attention.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, and then, so yeah, I can't imagine.
And who knows? For something you say, are you ready for something? Like, something I've said on this podcast could turn into something like that. Would I be ready for it? Probably not.
No.
Would I want to deal with it? Probably not. But for something of this magnitude that's so polarizing, maybe you should be ready if you're willing to say something about it,
And this isn't the first time, because obviously there's been the whole discussion too with, I can't think of the swimmer. I mean, we've talked about this so much over the past couple of years, people speaking out for rights. And then someone brought up the whole thing is, people are still killing Natalie on the field, in the disc golf field. She placed, I think, 18th or I don't know what it's like. Obviously, that's further down. She's taking a spot away from somebody, a female that can cash. But it's not like she's winning every tournament that she's playing in or doing anything like that.
Was it Mulvaney? Is that Dylan Mulvaney? Is that the swimmer's name?
Could be.
I can't remember.
I don't remember either.
But yeah, you're right. I mean, no, she's not placing in the top. She definitely is taking away places from biological females. But no, she's not. But, it's kind of like, this is a big difference in comparison. But it's like shooting into a crowd, not hitting the person you want to hit, but you hit somebody.
Yeah.
It's still the same thing. You're still causing harm. And I'll throw up the air quotes, causing harm, because females feel like they're being misplaced by someone who is identifying and transitioning to a female, right? That was born a male. I don't know. Like, it's only a matter of time before someone does come in and takes over the sport in that regard, And then at that point, then it's a really big deal.
Right.
So I don't know. Like,
what's weird? So not weird. I'm curious so obviously Abigail's competing against Natalie, right? In terms of competition, she may have just that feeling like, hey, I don't like that you're competing. But outside, maybe no qualms about actually what she's doing.
Right.
Or whatever.
Right. Exactly.
I think there's plenty of people that would be like that. Like, hey, your life, do what you do, but just don't come into my sport.
So this is going to be controversial, but I'm going to say it. But I think it's a good comparison because I think it's very similar to the same thing. When you talk about enhancing player performance, what's one of the first things you talk about? It's all about hormones, right? It's all about steroids.
Yeah.
And if you are caught using steroids in a competitive environment that does not allow them, you're removed, right? You can't compete anymore, whether you're a male or a female. So what you're doing is you're messing with your biological, hormones to make yourself perform better. And essentially that's what's happening here. So why is this any different from testing for performance enhancing drugs.
Yeah.
Like, I guess, how does it, on a scale, and I'm sure there's doctors that'll blow me out of the water and say it's a big difference, but that's kind of where I equate it. Like, Natalie Ryan, yes, she is taking, hormone blockers and all these fun things, but her testosterone and her certain, makeup or biology is creating things that make her a little bit better at athletics. Mm-hmm. As same thing with steroids.
Yeah.
So I guess that's where I make the comparison. Is it fair? Is it not? I don't know. But I know that there are very specific divisions for very specific reasons. And some of those reasons were to keep the playing field fair.
Yeah.
And we're blurring those lines, So when is enough? That's for the Pro Tour to decide.
Yeah.
When is enough? But I echo what you said and what I said. On the field, we can have an opinion. Off the field, do whatever you want. That's your life. Like, I don't have a problem with it. There's no issues whatsoever. But it's the whole harm thing. Like, if you're taking away opportunity from someone else that deserves to be in there, and that's the whole key right there. I just probably pissed someone off about deserving to be, like, someone that was born to be in that division that's protected. It was created for that reason. You're taking away a spot from them.
Yeah.
So I don't know. And honestly, if she listens to this, I'd love to have her on, have a conversation with her. But Natalie Ryan, like, I'd love to have the conversation with her. I don't have any issue in the world. But it's just one of those things I've heard no compelling evidence scientifically or emotionally why that should be allowed other than law.
Natalie should go on the Go Throw Tour.
Do they have? Or just to get away from the PDGA or the Pro Tour?
I mean, just go on the Go Throw Tour and compete.
Do they have any rules or anything against it?
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a sanctioned PDGA
That's
event.
right.
So, I mean, she could conceivably play in either division. Like, it would have been weird this weekend. Would they have argued to play in this MP? I mean, yeah, they could have gone on MPO.
I mean, no matter what, they could have played.
Right.
Yeah. Could have played. Yeah. I would be. Are you inviting that drama to the Go Throw? Like. I guess it's a way. Publicity is publicity. I guess.
I mean,
I don't know. It's just like it's a hard topic, and I've said this every time we talk about it because there are two people involved. There's one person for sure involved that is creating some of this, and that person has feelings, emotions, has a life to live, and she feels that she is doing what is best for her. I do not believe there is any ill intention behind what Natalie Ryan is doing. And then there's the other side. It's the same thing. I feel for him. But what's right was wrong, Yeah. And ultimately, that's nothing that, I can decide. Honestly, it's the Pro Tour. And based on their rules, they have to decide. And I think they have to an extent. I think they've put their line in the sand, and I think, they've made their decision where they can make it. And until they have somebody that's willing to back them to go further, they're not going to push any further.
No.
Unless there's some sort of federal or state sweeping change that's going to make that impossible, which that's very possible because from what I understand, the transgender athletes aren't allowed to compete in high school athletics anymore, are they? Outside of their born gender. I think that's being enacted this year.
I think that's right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, certain sports. I know disc golf wasn't one of them.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're seeing changes.
There.
So we'll see. We'll see. But just keep in mind, don't hurt anybody.
Yeah.
Don't be dicks. Like, use your words. We got free speech here, but just be mindful. Like, so with that being said about words, the one thing that kind of frustrated me about this whole Abigail Wilson thing is she has been threatened with disciplinary action for misgendering Natalie Ryan.
Has she?
Yes, she has.
Wow. By DGBT?
Yes.
Okay.
So that is everything that I was reading about it.
Yeah.
I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that.
So what kind of disciplinary action? Like what to what extent? Like she's not allowed
Hate
to
speech.
Okay.
So, and they haven't said anything. She was just warned about it.
Okay.
So I don't think it's any disciplinary action has been taken yet. But yeah, she was warned about it. So, and from what I understand, a Disc Golf Pro Tour employee. So, and for that, I'm just like, come on, man. Like, it's words. It's words. No one's going to wake up with cancer from words. Like,
no.
It's just, they're words. You know, we got to get over this. Like, call me all kinds of names. They're words. They might hurt my feelings. I might go to bed a little slower, might have a couple tears, but they're words. Like, they're words. Like, it's my responsibility to filter that out. I don't know. I have a real hard time with speech. Like,
yeah.
We have the freedom of speech. We can say whatever the heck we want, except for bomb in the middle of a theater.
Right.
You know?
Or fire.
Or fire. You know, like there's certain places where you can cause harm by doing that because it's a danger. People panic, like things happen. But outside of that, like, come on, man. Like, they're words. So, anyways, I'm done.
Yeah.
Get off my soapbox.
Abigail did kind of say, I think when this could cost her career, she did say. Like,
for sure.
You know.
For sure.
I don't know if she's sponsored by anybody or what kind of sponsorship she has currently. But
let's be honest.
I don't know much about her.
I've never even heard of Abigail Wilson until this issue. So
the only thing I know is she won pro side of Silver Cup like last year.
Okay.
That's the only thing I know.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it was last year.
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, good for her for bringing her name up. Now her name is known by a lot of the disc golf world.
Yeah.
You know, especially on the professional side. But before that, like, I'd never heard of her. You know, never heard of her. She has a platform. She's been getting a platform. I believe Tour Life interviewed her.
Okay.
If I'm correct. So she's getting a platform. I mean, not to mention Fox News, NBC.
Yeah.
You know, so, I mean, good for her. But I guess when you say stuff and the repercussions flow the way they do, you just got to be ready for it, you know? And I don't think she was.
No.
I don't think she was. So, all right. I think I'm done with that. Are you done?
Yeah.
All right. Cool. And I'm sure we'll flush this turd one more time and it'll be back. So we may not talk about it as much, though. All right. With that being said, in order to just goose fraba all the hate out there, we're going to talk ice baths and saunas.
Okay.
So related to disc golf, because there was a real short time there where everybody and their mother was doing ice baths.
Yeah.
And I think we talked about it a couple months ago, maybe 3, 4, 5, 6 months ago, maybe a year ago. I don't remember when it was. But we talked about all the ice baths we were seeing everywhere. It was just at the beginning of the off season. How come I'm not seeing any more posts about ice baths? Have people just fallen off of doing ice baths again, or?
Yeah, I don't know. That's interesting because Ricky used to post about them a lot, and then Cat Merch at the beginning of the season was all about ice baths.
Yeah.
In the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
And now they're kind of
They're like nothing.
Yeah.
Because Lazat used to do the ice baths. Like, there's a lot of people that used to do the ice baths. And now, so are they not seeing the benefit of ice baths, or are you just tired of being cold? So,
man, I did see a post recently on Instagram about something. It had to do with recovery. And that ice baths actually don't help you recover as much as you think they help you recover.
no, you're right. So, from the very beginning, so ice is a proven, scientifically backed treatment for inflammation.
Right.
The claims they're making about brown fat and synaptic recovery, and some of the other ones are a bunch of baloney.
Okay.
Is what they're finding out.
Yeah.
They're basically null to no effect. Very minuscule, almost immeasurable.
Yeah.
The brown fat production is good, but that has nothing to do with recovery. So what that is a good fat in your body, which I don't know what that means.
I think it's easier to break down.
Yeah. It's a hotter fat. So, yeah. All right. So I'll be honest. I have been doing ice baths for the better part of 2 years.
Yeah.
Very consistently for about a year and a half. For the last, I'd say 4 months, 5 months, I have maybe been in 30 ice baths.
Okay.
And when I do them, I feel fantastic. I like the way it makes me feel when I go in, like after I get out. Like going into them sucks. But that's part of why I like them. It's that doing the hard thing. So the more you do it, the easier it gets. But what it does also is it makes me less afraid to do something that I don't want to do. So it translates mentally for me. But as far as the health benefits, I think I've said this before. I never felt a thing.
Yeah.
Like I could tell you that I don't get cold as quick as I used to.
Okay.
Everybody else around me will be freezing, and I'm like, I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah.
And that's held true for a long time. Even in this 4 months where I've only done it for about 30 minutes, it's held true. And they say the maximum amount of benefits that you can receive from a ice bath is 7 minutes a week. That's all you got to be in the ice for.
Really?
At a temperature of anywhere between 54 degrees and down to 39. You don't have to get any lower than 39.
Yeah.
And they say optimal temperature is about 42 to 44 degrees. 7 minutes a week.
7 minutes.
Maximum benefits.
Wow.
Yeah. So a minute a day
Yeah.
is what you got to do.
Huh.
I would usually do them 2.5 to 3 minutes at a time.
Yeah.
And my ice bath sits anywhere between like 36 up to 48 is about where my ice bath set. And then the one that I would go to use, that one sits at 41. So I like them. They make my skin feel good.
Yeah.
I have a stronger resistance to cold. And I think just mentally looking at a body of water and being like, that is absolutely freezing. I'm about to put my body in that. And then just doing it. It's nice to get yourself through those mental blocks.
Sure.
Because a lot of times where things aren't a big deal and you make them a really big deal in your head. And then you do them and you're like, that wasn't that big of a deal.
Yeah.
And that's what that is. So for me, that's what ice baths are. You ever done ice baths?
No, I used to take cold showers for a while.
Oh, those suck worse.
Yeah.
Those are so bad.
Well, yeah, because so what I do is I start, by like taking a regular shower, and then you turn it colder and colder as like you go on a little bit.
Yeah.
Just to get used to it. So I was doing it, a minute or, a couple minutes to each shower. But there's parts of you that are warm and there's parts of you that are cold. So it's like you're not really feeling
I think that's
benefit.
the worst part because in an ice bath, you get in, you get really cold, and you get numb.
Yeah.
Well, not numb, but your body kind of adapts.
Yeah.
You can't do that in those showers.
True.
Like,
Yeah.
so those suck a lot. How about saunas?
I love saunas. I haven't been in one in a while, but like a sauna or like a steam room. Yeah. I don't mind getting in and like sweating out.
Yeah. Did I tell you about the Mexico experience?
No.
So Mexico experience, you paid for this. It was like they call it a therapy session, but what it is, you got in and you went into a dry sauna, just sat there. And I think it had IR, like both near and far infrared.
Yeah.
And you sat there for about 10 to 12 minutes. And I don't know what temperature it was. It was like 130 or something like that. No, maybe it was higher than that, like 160. It was hot, but it wasn't like stupid hot.
Okay.
And then for 15 minutes, and then you went out and went into a cold room, which was just a room that was cold.
Yeah.
Probably sitting in at like 60 degrees, something like that. And then you sat there for about 10 minutes, and then you went into a steam room, which is out 130 with like 100% humidity.
Yeah.
Eucalyptus oil everywhere. Like you could barely breathe. It was crazy.
Yeah.
But you sat in there for about 10 to 12 minutes. And then you came out, went back into the cold room. And then from the cold room, you went into the cold plunge.
Oh, wow.
And then you sat there for 2 to 3 minutes and then came out. I felt awesome after every time I did it. Like I felt so good. The thing that I was surprised about is how much I liked sweating my boys off in the steam room.
Yeah.
Like I hate saunas. Like I just don't feel good in them, you know?
Yeah.
But the steam room, for some reason, I just loved it. Loved it. So I always hated dreading going into the dry sauna, like the IR. And like that experience made it so much so that I'm like, how much are IR saunas? You know, because I got the cold bath and I was like, wonder how cool it'd be to go to like infrared cold bath. And
yeah.
Then, you know, because I say, I guess there's repetition, like that helps.
What's really funny is the kids were watching this YouTube video one day and they had these products. It was like this individual little like stand-up steam bath.
Oh, okay.
There's like steam room sauna situation is big enough for one person. Is basically like a stand with like,
was it like a PV stand with like a cloth thing
kind
over
of.
it? Yeah.
Okay. And then there's a hose or something that pumps in the steam and you sit or stand in there for however long.
Yeah.
And it zips and everything. And it's like, okay, that'd be kind of funny to have in like a corner of a bedroom somewhere.
Yes. Yeah. That's like the New York apartment style, you know?
Right. My studio apartment. But I got this really cool sauna corner.
Yeah, exactly.
You know.
And this is the sauna corner.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. No, we actually stopped at a place in Appleton that had ice baths and saunas there. And we were like looking at it and pricing them out. They're freaking expensive. They're so expensive. We were looking at them like, oh, and we offer financing. And I'm like, you need financing for these things? And then like kind of like unveiled the price. I was like, what?
So I don't know who it is up here, but there's somebody that has the portable sauna rental.
Yeah.
And it fits, I don't know, 6 people in it or something. It's on the back of a trailer. It's round. You know. It's one of those old Swedish style.
Yeah, that's an old steam sauna, I think. Yeah.
And I was like, oh, someone rented one and invited us over to try it. And I was kind of intrigued by it. But I was like, I don't really want to sit in.
The group thing is not my style.
I don't want to go sit with my friends in a sauna. Like, that's just kind of weird. Like,
no.
I'm cool with people I don't know.
Yeah.
Until, you know, whatever. But, yeah, I don't know. I don't want to sweat out with people that I really know. Or talk. Like, I'm okay if it was dark and you just sit in silence. But if I have to look at you face to face or do anything, and that's just not my style.
So, and I'm not a sauna guy. Like, I'm not just going to go, oh, I'm going to go to the sauna. That's not my style. Like, give me a hard workout, and then I'll go sit in the sauna, ice bath. Like, that's how I like to operate. Maybe there's some benefit to doing saunas before or after working out or whatever, but
I don't know.
My pattern is always like a good hard workout, go sit in the sauna, go sit in the ice bath, and then out.
Sure.
And the one at the Y, like I like it, but there's always old dudes in it.
Yeah.
Like all the time. Or Slade. So it's either old dudes or Slade.
There's a weird, I just feel like there's people there that go to the Y just for the sauna.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
They just go. And it's like, really? There's so many other amenities here to do stuff. And this is why you come? Just for the sauna.
And it's big, but not that big.
Yeah.
What's it? Maybe like a 10-person sauna. I mean, it's
something like that.
Yeah, it's not. You're not going to go lay. I mean, you can lay in it, but like, that's not like.
No.
If you lay in it, there's like 4 people maybe. You know, and that's with like people's heads on laps. So, but yeah. So with that being said, let's tie that to disc golf. I think there should be a sauna and ice bath trailer that goes from tour stop to tour stop.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah. So we could do the Door Disc Golf Night Owls podcast, Night Owls Ice Pod, and sauna.
Ooh.
And then just do ice baths and saunas while we're doing podcasts. What do you think? Get the pros in, talk to them while they're in the saunas or the ice baths?
Funny.
I like it. I like it.
USWDGC will debut.
Yeah, exactly. That's perfect. All right. So you gonna buy the sauna or the trailer?
I'll buy the sauna.
Okay.
Yeah, we can. We'll work something out.
We'll do something.
I feel like Kevin Hart did something like that. He had a video thing on YouTube where he'd get in an ice bath and talk with people.
He was never in the ice bath, but the other people usually were.
Okay. That's funny.
He would get in them, but it was always funny because there was a couple of them where he would sit in it, and then he'd get out and sit on the edge with just his feet in, and then the other people would be sitting. It was really funny.
Okay.
But you know Kevin Hart, like he's...
Yeah.
Yeah, so there you go. So if there's some sort of entrepreneurial minded person that wants to start a business, man, get a little enclosed trailer, put a little ice bath in the front, a sauna in the back. All you need is like a 120 volt, like 40 amp trailer. Mm-hmm. And you'd be great, man. You could just charge like $3 to $5 a person.
Perfect.
Yeah. Because I would love to sit in an ice bath that all these disc golfers have sat in. I feel like that would be really gross.
Yeah, right.
You better have a good filtration system in it.
Yeah, after a round, the film on the bath. Oh,
that'd be so gross. But it's possible. I mean, some of these, like, we were looking at one of the ice baths that had its own filtration system, UV filter. I mean, it had so many things. But this was a 150-gallon ice bath. It was $12,000.
Oh,
I was like,
wow,
dude, my $80 horse trough out there is just fine.
Yeah,
I'll spend the money on ice. That's a lot of ice.
Do you know what would be awesome is you go to one of these golf courses and you got somebody that can bring you up and down the fairway like you're sitting in an ice bath, and they like move you to the next hole.
Just between this recovery. This is recovery.
No, I mean, like, you're just like a spectator, and then you charge people on the course to be like, hey, if you want to sit in an ice bath and watch a hole, and then like you move it up and down the course.
So it'd be kind of like a hayride, but an ice bath.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah.
That's not a bad idea either. Hey, we can figure this out.
Yeah. For
just
sure.
Spectator, and then have another one that's like a hot tub. And we just pull the hot tub.
Yeah. Now we're talking.
See? I'm getting it.
Yeah.
Guys just with like Schlitz and hams sitting in the bathtub.
Yeah. Yeah. And you got a golf cart or something, and you're pulling the trailer up and down the course, and you're just sitting in the hot tub.
I like it. Can you imagine the 8 holes being like, and a hot tub in the back of the 8 holes? Dude, I got to call Steve Dodge. All right,
Get
Steve Dodge.
On hole 8 Maple Hill.
Yeah, all right. Got it. So 8 holes.
Yeah, I wonder how much electricity you'll be to run out to that hole.
Can you imagine the size of the cable they'd have to run out there for a hot tub? Oh, all right. All right. Check. I got Steve Dodge on the line. I'm going to get this figured out on the next episode.
Yeah.
All right.
Steve, we got this great idea. Remember how you wanted to build that? Because, well, he was talking about building
the deck.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
You put the hot tub out on the deck? Yes, sir. Can you imagine how much you charge for those tickets? It's like you rent out the hot tub. Like, this is your hot tub for the weekend, and put a little gazebo over it.
Yeah.
And one person that runs for drinks.
Oh, my gosh.
Dude, I'd pay 10 G's. I wouldn't, but I'm sure there's people that would. You think you spend 10 G's, you're sitting in a hot tub, some dude is just like, or woman is just like running back and forth getting drinks and snacks for you and your party? Yes.
Wow.
All right, Steve. Just give us a call. Or I'll call him. One of the two. All right. Anything inspirational or motivational to leave us on?
Don't leave your kids alone in the basement.
Well, JP, if you wouldn't chain him down there. Yeah. That's what he was doing. He was throwing something out the window, but like, help! And no one could hear him, so he broke the window. Jeez. All right. So that's a good idea. There you go. Don't chain your kids in the basement. Keep it subpar. Deuces in the toilet.